Welcome to our video series about digital preservation of research data. In these videos, we will present the basics of how to do good research data management that makes your data possible to reuse and preserve for future research. Research data management includes all parts of the research data lifecycle, from its birth, initial storage and active use to long-term preservation, or if data becomes obsolete, deletion. The aim of research data management is to make the whole research process more efficient and meet the needs and requirements of funders and legislation. Research data management is crucial for facilitating data sharing and ensuring the sustainability and accessibility of data in the long term and reuse for future science. Proper research data management is an essential part of good scientific practice and the basis for successful research, as well as a key component of research integrity and reproducibility.
Digital preservation refers to the reliable preservation of digital information. The goal in digital preservation is that the information it contains remains accessible and usable to users over a long period of time, which means several decades or even centuries. The information must be preserved and remain understandable while, for example, hardware, software, and file formats will become outdated. It requires active, ongoing monitoring, curation, and taking measures to extend the data lifetime so that it stays usable for decades or centuries. Preservation actions include migration of file formats becoming obsolete and various means to ensure data integrity and quality, to keep data readable and usable, and protecting it from degeneration and damage in the long term.
In Finland, digital preservation service for research data is offered and owned by the Ministry of Education and Culture and is produced, managed, and further developed by CSC IT Center for Science. Digital preservation service is part of the Fairdata Services, which include also IDA for safe storage of research data, Kuvain, a tool that helps adding metadata, and Essen, a research data finder. Fairdata Services help make research data and related metadata findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. And they focus on the later parts of the data lifecycle when data are becoming mature.
Digital preservation service for research data enables a permanent and coordinated approach to support the management of research resources. It aims to ensure the validity and repeatability of research in the long term and ensure the availability and preservation of digital research resources in a secure way for future generations. Research datasets, including data, publications, code, learning materials, etc., are eligible for digital preservation if they are considered fundamental to national or institutional research activities based on the organization's own evaluation. The ownership of digital assets remain within the organization which has preserved them.
It is important to understand that digital preservation is not just storing bits somewhere and forgetting about them for years, but it is a continuous activity that needs constant attention. In bit-level preservation, the bits are preserved by following the integrity of the files. In logical preservation, the data usability is preserved. Metadata and file formats are migrated to newer formats by following a preservation plan when the format is becoming obsolete. In semantical preservation, the context and purpose of the data is preserved by keeping sufficient descriptive metadata up to date. Digital preservation requires knowledge about technology and the actual content, and therefore it is a challenge that requires close collaboration between stakeholders.
When an organization wants to start using the digital preservation service, the organization representative, who is the contract contact person, proposes a dataset to be preserved by sending a request to the Ministry of Education and Culture. The ministry will inform the organization and CSC of its decision and grant a certain quota for the dataset. Then CSC contacts the organization representative and the service contract between the organization and CSC is made and signed. After this, the service utilization can begin. Internal collaboration and communication between the researcher and data support is crucial.
Digital preservation is an option for datasets which have value for the organization or on national level in the long term. If you as a researcher feel that data should be preserved, contact your local data support. Fairdata Services provide various support functions for transferring content to digital preservation. If the content to be stored is in the Fairdata service, the required metadata can be described using the Kuvain tool. The content can then be transferred to the digital preservation service for research data via a separate management interface. Metadata and file format requirements are described in digital preservation specifications that have been implemented in collaboration with partner organizations.
Metadata is information regarding the data, for example, where, when, why, and how the data were collected, processed, and interpreted. Metadata may also contain details about experiments, analytical methods, and research contexts. Metadata has a key role in digital preservation as it describes the information content, provenance information, how this came to be, and how the content can be used. Providing metadata enables you and others to make use of the data later. Metadata also makes your data understandable, discoverable, and reusable.
Terms of use are usually easiest to be defined by a license, which allows you to specify how your data can be used and reused. As a general rule, data can be used in accordance with its terms of use determined by the rights owner as specified in the metadata. You can always contact the owner of the data in order to clarify any uncertainties regarding the use of data. Creative Commons licenses are widely used for sharing and using data. The CC BY 4.0 license allows the use of your data, but requires that the creator is mentioned. The CC0 license includes no restraints on reuse. Data can also be subject to other restrictions, normally due to sensitive information, business secrets, or other agreements. Please note that data licensing does not change when transferred to the digital preservation service.
When transferring data to digital preservation, it is important to use file formats that are open and readable by more than one application and facilitate reuse of data. In the next video, we will discuss file formats. And you can learn more about files and file naming in part 6 of the Manage Well and Get Preserved series.
Remember that during the preservation process, the internal communication within your organization and collaboration between researchers and data support is crucial. You can ask advice from the Digital Preservation Services directly. Thank you for watching. Next time, we'll talk about open formats and data quality.